Hey guys, GIATEX here, and today I have a pretty cool product to show you guys. As you see in the title, it's a foldable bike. I don't know how many people have heard of this. I've had this for years, since I was maybe 10-12 years old, but apparently a lot of people didn't know about this. I did a whole presentation in one of my classes about this, and then I was surprised that nobody had ever heard about a foldable bike. But in a few moments, I'll be removing this bike from this bag right here. But before I take it out, I'm going to show you around the bag because it comes included. It's this big black canvas bag. It has two removable straps that will buckle down here. And it has this outer facing pocket that you can use to place, I don't know, documents or something like that. But as you can see, it's quite old, so it has since then ripped a little bit. Inside the bag, there is this hard plastic strip on the bottom to prevent the bike from slipping through the bag if the seams were to give out, and on the side it is heavily padded. So enough about the bag, let's go ahead and take out the bike. So let's go ahead and unzip this thing. They are dual zippered, by the way, and out comes the bike. The one I have here is this red and silver color, and as you can see right now it's still in its kind of collapsed form. So let's go ahead and expand this thing. So the first thing I always do is put up the handlebars. You can see here, lock in the clamp there. And then I insert the seat post here, lock it in place again. And then I go ahead and actually expand the bike. So there are two locking mechanisms here, right here in the middle and also in the rear. So I loosen those up, expand it, and then relock them in place. And the final thing to do is to flip up the pedals, which are usually flipped downwards. And now the final part of the assembly process is to adjust the seat to your appropriate height. And also you can adjust the height of the handlebars as well right here. Now that the bike is in its full assembled form, let's go ahead and give a quick tour of this foldable bike. Starting out with the wheels, these are tiny 16-inch wheels with hybrid tires, which can be inflated to a maximum of 80 psi using the Schrader valve. And it also has these neat little fenders that are also built into the frame. Also built in is this little kickstand on the back wheel hub. And if you wanted to, you can actually attach an additional accessory right here. You see there's an open clamp. You can attach a rear rack. This bike has 6 speeds that are controlled by a Shimano grip shifter, which is pretty decent for a foldable bike of this size, but I found myself always using the 6th gear because I needed the higher speed. The cables are almost completely covered, especially in the midsection. That way it won't get tangled up when you fold this thing, which is definitely a huge plus. Then for the braking system, it has the typical rim brakes found both in the front and in the rear. It also has its usual host of reflectors, one in the front, one in the rear, and also on the spokes in the wheels and on the sides of the pedals. Because it has so many different moving parts, you definitely want to make sure all the clamps are properly secured before you ride this thing. When you first start riding this thing, you have to get used to the really tiny wheels and the high center of gravity because the bar is really low but the seat is really high. So it's really good at turns and cutting corners, but it doesn't have that momentum that will keep you steady at very high speeds unlike the bigger bikes. So this bike is definitely more geared towards leisure riding with the small wheels, the hybrid tires, and also the very luxurious, comfy seat that they have on this thing. And I have to say, this seat is super comfortable. I think that's one of the best things about this bike because it definitely doesn't have any kind of suspension, but how comfortable the seat is kind of mitigates that. So this is nice for people who like to travel and want to bring their bike with them without having to lug around a huge package. Disassembling this bike is also very straightforward. The first thing I want to do is remove the seat post completely out of the frame, and then I go ahead and flip down the seat pedals and go ahead and retract the main frame to its most collapsed position, and then finally I fold down the handlebar. Once in its fully collapsed position, I put the bike back into the bag, and then I carefully put the seat post also in the bag right next to the bike with the seat facing downwards. Once in the bag, I can directly put it in the trunk of my subcompact car, the Toyota Corolla, without even using one of those bike rear racks they have to attach to the back of your car. So my dad bought this bike for me around 10 years ago for around maybe $700 to $800, which is definitely quite pricey for, say, a 10 to 12-year-old. But his thought process was basically because it was so expandable with the adjustments that he thought this bike could just grow with me, so I could basically keep this until I would stop growing basically. It's an interesting thought to have a bike that would kind of grow with you and you would just keep it for the long term. But this I actually ended up using just for my backup use because I preferred a mountain bike with its variable speeds. This I could barely climb hills with. It's definitely more for, again, as I said, leisure riding, and it's just handy, that design, that you can take it with you when you're traveling. So as of 2018, I couldn't find this bike available anymore, so I think the company might have went out of business, but there are definitely other brands that sell foldable bikes out there that can actually collapse even further than this one. So I think foldable bikes in general are really nice secondary bikes to own for those special case uses. This definitely will not replace your daily commuter road bike or mountain bike. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a like. It'd be greatly appreciated. And make sure to subscribe to my channel, Skyforce95, if you haven't already, to get more content like this. Or if you're watching this on Amazon, head over to my channel URL right here, or just search it up on YouTube, Skyforce95. There you'll see a bunch of my product reviews and unboxings. Feel free to browse, or if you want to search for something specific, just hit that search field. That'll do it for this video. This is Skyforce95. Thanks for watching.